referring to Hillary Clinton. The only thing she's got going is the woman's card. If Hillary Clinton were a man, I don't think she'd get 5% of what she's getting. And, you know, women really like me. I'm Donald Trump. Well, we know the last sentence is certainly not true. Yes, Republican women have been voting on occasion for Donald Trump, but among all women, his disapproval ratings, all American women, are about 66%. But let's put that aside for now. Let's put aside for a second Donald Trump's obvious crassness and likely misogyny. Let's talk about Hillary Clinton. I tried to do some of this yesterday, and it got into a criticism of Hillary Clinton's views on this, that, or the other. And while you're certainly welcome to do that, and we had many discussions about the Sanders-Clinton race, which, in my opinion, is basically over, but that's not the topic I want to discuss today. I want to look at not just Hillary Clinton, but a general question of sexism in the workplace. I want to know if you have a job, if you're a woman, if you have a job, and you think that people think that a man would do your job better. Or if you're a guy, I want to know about your female co-workers. I want to know whether you think they would do better if they were a man. We know men are paid more than women in the workplace, and I kind of want to know why. Is it because of attitudes like Donald Trump? I thought it was ridiculous what he said about Hillary Clinton, given that with the views, which, as I admit, as I talked yesterday, are perfectly fair to comment on today's show, but I do think it's fair, obviously, to comment on the views of a political candidate. She clearly has the experience, more experience, frankly, than Barack Obama had when he ran for president. She had more experience than, well, Ted Cruz or Donald Trump or, well, we can go back, let's see, Mitt Romney or Bob Dole. She had more experience than her husband, who was governor of a smallish state, as a senator from the third largest state in the United States, elected and re-elected in New York as a Secretary of State, and yes, even as First Lady. Now, some of you may think that's unfair to bring that up. So, even if we take it off the table, just as Secretary of State, just as Senator from New York, she had loads more experience than Barack Obama, or her husband Bill Clinton, or George W. Bush, or George Herbert Walker Bush. He was vice president, that's true. But when he ran for president the first time against George Bush, she has more experience than he had. You know, Ronald Reagan was a California governor, certainly didn't have any foreign policy experience. Let's just keep going back. Jimmy Carter was a governor of Georgia. Gerald Ford was a congressman. I mean, to go back to someone with her level of experience, you got to go back really to 1972 or 1968, more than 40 years. So, I wonder about the woman card. Has Hillary Clinton overplayed the woman card? She responded, of course, that if the woman card means that she's going to talk about family medical leave and women's health care, well then, deal me in. It's a pretty good line. But I want to talk in general today about sexism in the presidential race, in the workplace. I mean, it's interesting. Ted Cruz just picked Carly Fiorina as his vice presidential running mate. A little bit premature, given that Ted Cruz has no mathematical way of getting a majority of the delegates. He can only win if Donald Trump fails to get a majority, and then he somehow rallies all the majority of the contested convention. So it's a little bit premature, but he chose Carly Fiorina. Now, I think it might be fair to say that Carly Fiorina he would not have chosen if she had not been a woman. I think it's fair to say that about Sarah Palin. I'm not saying that the line that Donald Trump gave is never fair. I think, you know, Sarah Palin, who was a mayor of a tiny, tiny town, much, much smaller than, you know, the number of people that I represent in Virginia, and then was a governor of Alaska, a tiny state, for a couple years. I think she was unqualified to be president. I think she was chosen because she's a woman. And Carly Fiorina, a failed CEO from Hewlett-Packard, someone who was fired, hardly a great record. Her only record